Live from our super secret studios above Jacques' Flower Shop, this is Girard at Large.
Yeah, baby!
Good morning, Manchester.
Live and local. News, sports, politics, traffic, and weather. Rich isn't afraid to tackle the tough questions.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
It's all here on the Girard at Large radio program.
Hello?
On 90.7 WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
I am your host, Rich Girard. Thanks for tuning in.
That's right.
Here's
Hey,
Richard.
let's bring this local. We had Dubrulle. We had Burt. Dubrulle, champion of the taxpayer, wanted to deprive Mountain View Middle School of roof repairs, of a new roof, $200,000. And so I want to do some quick math here. This isn't to be critical of Ms. Dubrulle, but we have a $37 million budget, right? So we have a $200,000 roof, and we have a $37 million budget. That means Ms. Dubrulle's big budget cut was 0.5%. 0.0054 when you divide 200,000 by 37 million. Multiply by 100. She voted to cut 0.5%. John Burt's response, they need a roof. They need books. We have to stop depriving the school children of books and go where the money is. We have to deal with labor costs.
They never want to touch that.
That's where I was back when the city was looking at opening the McLaughlin Middle School back in the late 90s, and the school department came to us and said, oops. We said, oops. They said, oops. We forgot to include furniture and science lab equipment for the school. We need another $1.3 million. We said, oops. They said, oops. I said, fine, I'll vote to fund the opening of the school. I'll vote for Bunsen burners and beakers for the little children's. I'll vote for them to have desks and chairs and books. But we only had $1.3 million that we could spend in that budget year. And the teachers weren't looking for a pay raise. Now, I don't care how good the science teacher is. If she doesn't have Bunsen burners and beakers, she can't teach. So I voted for the supplies for the kids. The furniture for the kids. I voted against the pay raise for the teachers. I, Rich Girard, anti-education.
How dare you question
John
these
Burt
people?
wants kids to have books in non-leaking roofs over their heads. John Burt, anti-education. Elizabeth Dubrulle doesn't want to touch teacher salaries. It's not technically they could reduce the budget by enough to cause layoffs, but that's not what she thinks the budget committee should do, even though they could. That belongs to the selectmen and the school board. I thought it was a relevant question to ask about rubber stamping. She wants to deprive the... Why, Elizabeth, why do you hate children? Why do you want the little raindrops to come through the roof and land on their precious little heads? John Burt hates the kid, anti-education because he wants to control spending on labor costs. Elizabeth Dubrulle does not want to buy books or do roofs. She is pro-education. You see how silly this is?
I had an exchange with a friend of mine about this. He says, why do you want to cut the pay of teachers? I said, I can't say his name. I said, man, I don't want to cut the pay of teachers. And as a matter of fact, I would love to see them earn more, especially the great ones. Well, actually only the great ones.
Right.
But I'm not getting a fourth job, man.
I'll tell you what.
This is the part of the equation they can't seem to fathom.
I'll tell you when I lost my of course, I was raised by a teacher, a union president at that. And I have historically, or up to a certain point, was sympathetic with the ideas that teachers didn't really make enough money. I kind of lived it. I grew up with it at a time where I think teachers were genuinely underpaid. So back when I'm the alderman and I'm researching this, and I have this pay raise question, and I actually did the stats and found out that the average teacher in the city of Manchester was getting paid more than the average household in the primary metropolitan statistical area, an individual teacher making more than the household.
Than the household.
not only of Manchester, but including its wealthy suburbs, I said, okay, I can no longer see with a straight face that teachers are underpaid.
But they don't seem to get that side of the
When you're
argument.
making more money than the people who are paying you as a public servant, you have wandered off the reservation.
Live and local. News, sports, politics, traffic, and weather. Rich isn't afraid to tackle the tough questions.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
It's all here on the Girard at Large radio program.
On 90.7 WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
I am your host, Rich Girard. Thanks for tuning in.